This next game I played co-op with my daughter. I have played this and beaten it before, but it used to be digital only. So when Limited Run Games put out a physical version, I grabbed it and I played it again. And it's Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. And this is the complete edition. So this was one of the most desired games to be released physically for me and a lot of other people. So Scott Pilgrim has to beat up his girlfriend's 7 evil exes. That's the whole premise of Scott Pilgrim. If you've ever read I guess it's a graphic novel or a comic book series or seen the movie with Michael Cera. And what you do is you just bash your way through 7 really awesome stages that are all super varied and unique and a lot of fun and, you know, your typical beat 'em up fashion. The game takes its inspiration from like River City Ransom on the NES, if you've ever played that game. And it's a normal beat 'em up, but as you defeat enemies, you collect money. And you can, you know, take that money into these shops that are hidden around the stages, and you can buy food and other trinkets and stuff to basically level up your character and make them stronger. Along the way, you also gain XP, which unlocks new moves. And I believe like the max level is 16 or 17, so there are 16 or 17 additional moves you can get with each character, and you pull them off by doing things like double jumping and kicking and like tap tap forward, things like that. I think that's a really good system as opposed to a lot of beat 'em ups that just give you like 17 moves right off the bat and they're just like figure them out. This one you get a chance to, you know, get used to each move once you unlock it and figure out how to use it effectively before they throw another one on top of you, which I really liked. My daughter really appreciated it for sure. So the graphics and music are obviously super retro inspired, and they are incredible. This is one of the best looking beat 'em ups I've ever seen. And the areas are like insanely detailed. There's tons of character and so much charm. There are like pop culture references everywhere, and it's just like a feast for the eyes. The music, like I said, is unbelievably catchy. It's worth listening to outside of the game. And I forget the name of the guy that did the graphics for this game, but he's done a lot of other things in this style. He is without a doubt like one of the best in the field. As I think back on this game, and like I said, I played it over 10 years ago on the Xbox 360, it stands out in my mind more than any other beat 'em up I've ever played. There's so many interesting events and things that happened and scenarios that like just stuck with me. And the charm of the game is unlike anything I've ever seen. I loved it. But even though I'm obviously really fond of this game, it's not perfect. There are a few things about it that kind of drove me and my daughter crazy. For one, the enemies block way too often, and their blocks are really hard to break through. You have to do some strange like combo to get through them. And typically you're sitting there, you know, punching away and another enemy walks up behind you and like whacks you in the back of the head. It's annoying. And it's hard to break through defenses. And my little girl, she's not used to doing like combinations on the controller, so she would just sit there and punch the same guy over and over and over again, trying to get him to like put down his guard, and it just wouldn't happen. And I have to stop what I was doing to go over there and help her. There's a lot of that going back and forth, and I feel like their guard breaks should have broken after maybe like 3 or 4 punches and not like 60 punches. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's not as big of an exaggeration as it sounds like. It was challenging to get through their defenses. Whenever I play a game co-op with my daughter that I review on this channel, I ask her what she thought of it. And she says that it was a really frustrating, but a really good game. So this isn't the best beat 'em up I've ever played, but it is the most memorable beat 'em up I've ever played. And I think it's a fantastic game. When it came out, I hadn't seen a beat 'em up game in a long time. Like there was Castle Crashers that maybe came out shortly before or after this, and then this game, and then like there's a 10-year gap where nothing really came out. Now we're getting them all the time. People are going back to that style and they're enjoying it. This still hangs in there with some of like the more modern kind of great beat 'em ups that have come out. So Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game, it's like an 8 out of 10. It's great. I would highly recommend this one if you just like action games or beat 'em ups. It's a lot of fun.